Good afternoon. Welcome to All About Animals. I'm Sherry Graditor, and I'm sitting with Marc Portugal, who is a new hire to Save a Pet. And you are then, I'm going to do it again, the program developer? No.
The development manager.
The development manager at the shelter. And what does that mean?
Primarily my job is fundraising.
Okay.
Primarily my job is to spread the word in a manner that ultimately results in more donations of varying sorts for Save a Pet.
And we want to talk about the fact, very frankly, that Save a Pet right now is in financial difficulties. Financial difficulties for a lot of reasons. One, obviously, the economy. Go away, insect. You want to talk about it more?
The economy has affected Save a Pet in a number of different ways. To begin with, there have been some layoffs, so you have less people doing an immense amount of work. The immense amount of work is indicative of the increase in intake due to relinquishments from people who can't afford their animals anymore. So the combination of less people, the combination of more animals, the combination of animals who are facing certain medical problems and are costly to care for has resulted in some pretty severe financial challenges.
Yeah, I understand. It's put a tremendous burden on the shelter. I read a figure in the Daily Herald that I believe you put in as to what your medical bills, veterinary medical bills, were to date this year.
All in, including the number, we use a number of different vets, one of which is an emergency vet, and then others in various communities here in the area. And in total, it was a little over $210,000 through the end of August.
And I might add that the adoption fees that are collected in no way offset the expenditures.
That's correct. You take the $210,000 and change through August for medical care, add roughly $32,000 in prescription food, roughly $20,000 in supplies, primarily basic items like paper towels, trash bags, gloves. For the non-prescription food, correct. And you start to very, very quickly hit a $400,000 to $500,000 number. In addition, we have, this is not a new building, and we have some physical plant capital related challenges as well that need to be addressed. So the combination of the building's age, the age, quote unquote, of the economy and the challenges that it's and the pressure that it's putting on the organization, it's tough. It's really, really tough. It's simultaneously inspiring. We have an amazing staff and wonderful animals that come from not so wonderful places, but we're trying to turn that around. So it's bittersweet, but more days than not, it's a really, really wonderful challenge. But it is not a challenge we can overcome on our own.
In other words, there's help needed. And donations, obviously, in this economy are down.
Donations are down and intake is up. Is the basic explanation. We want people to donate what they can, and we want people, as importantly, to donate in a manner that is most important to them. In other words, we're trying to get away from stock denominations of 25, 50, 100, 200. We want people to give. We want people to understand what it takes to care for the animals and run the shelter, and pick the things that are most important to them under that umbrella and give accordingly. So, for example, if vaccinating dogs is important to them, we can let them know what that costs and they can give accordingly. If feeding cats is important to them, we can let them know what it costs and they can give accordingly. We always need the basics like paper towels and trash bags and blankets, but when it comes to money, we understand and we acknowledge how challenging it is for people to give these days, and we want to accommodate that, ironically, as best as we can.
Now, I understand that staff has been cut by, what, close to 50%?
About 40%, correct.
About 40%, which means the other thing that you obviously need right now are volunteers.
We need volunteers desperately. We need volunteers in a variety of categories, including but not limited to dog walking and cat socialization, including but not limited to what I would call professional services, snow blowing, printing, graphic design, maintenance.
Videotaping?
Video, television shows, things like that. Yeah, we need volunteers in a lot of different areas, and sometimes it's something as seemingly mundane as, can you go pick up XYZ, but we just don't have the bandwidth right now to allocate a staff member for a couple of hours to go pick up XYZ. It happened this morning.
Yeah. So, in a nutshell, and we have to pretty much summarize what's going on. I understand the physical plant needs work.
Correct.
I understand the staff is way down.
Correct.
I understand that donations are way down.
Correct.
I understand that you've been limiting the number of animals you're taking in. Is that correct?
Yes and no. The core mission of Save a Pet is not one that would allow for limiting the animals that we take in. That's why I mentioned earlier that intake over the year has been up. We will make room as best as we can for as many animals as we can on a going forward basis, in spite of the financial challenges, because nobody else will.
Which I think is wonderful. And I have to add that having taped at Save a Pet now for maybe 20 years, it's a long time, I am seeing that you have always been dedicated to taking those animals that need a little bit extra.
Save a Pet's been dedicated to taking animals that need a little bit to a lot extra for many, many years. We have animals that need chemotherapy. We have animals that need orthopedic surgery. We have animals that will need special diets and food considerations for the rest of their lives. We have animals like the FIV cats that will need certain medical attention for the rest of their lives. So it is a unique and again sort of wonderfully bittersweet burden to be one of the only facilities, certainly that I know of, and certainly in the northern Illinois area, that will go that far to take care of these animals.
And I'm going to wrap this up now and tell you that it hurts my heart to see this shelter in crisis, because I've seen the work that the employees do. I've seen the work that the volunteers do. I've seen the love that fills every corner of this shelter, from the most aggressive dog to the shyest cat, and the personal attention that is put into each animal. It would be tragic if the shelter could not continue because of lack of funds. I have never taken time to urge people to make financial donations or donations of time or anything else in the 30 years that we've been doing this show. But right now, we are in crisis, and crisis means that we need your help if Save a Pet will be able to continue doing what Save a Pet does so beautifully. Mark, thank you for taking the time.
Thank you.
I appreciate it. We're now going to show you lots of those wonderful dogs and cats that are sitting here waiting for homes.